Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. As you can tell from the title of this video, we are going to be reviewing another makeup book today. First, I reviewed Kevin Aucoin's book called Making Faces, and this time we are going to move on to someone else. This time the book is from Bobbi Brown and it's called Makeup Manual. This book came out in 2008, so significantly later than Kevin Aucoin's book, and you can definitely tell based on the pictures in the book and based on the information it gives you that this book is very aware of how much more people knew about makeup in 2008 compared to what they knew in the 90s. As you guys are probably aware, Bobbi Brown is another makeup artist just like Kevin, and whilst Kevin focuses on his book on his own work and showing you how he transforms faces step by step, what he does without really pointing out any actual product he used, he just refers to the shades. You don't really see him using these products on people. Bobbi Brown's book is a lot more in detail. She gives you a lot more information. However, she still doesn't focus on your average makeup user. This book is very much catered towards makeup artists starting out on the field. Remember, this book is from 2008. That was before people started doing makeup videos on YouTube, and it was still a time when makeup artists really sometimes had no idea how to start out with their career. The book is broken down into two parts. The first part is called Basics, and the second part is called Artistry. In the Artistry part, she's more focused on makeup artists, and in the Basics part, I would say that information is pretty much for everybody, but you can still feel that it is for makeup artists and people doing makeup on other people, especially when it comes to tools and hygiene and such things. You can also see that the Basics part is a lot longer than the Artistry, and within these two parts you have 12 chapters all together, 8 chapters in the Basics part and 4 chapters in the Artistry part. She does have pictures of her own products in this book quite often, which is, I feel like, a very obvious choice. However, she doesn't show you her name on any of the products, which is quite nice because she is using her own products, but she's not pushy about it. She's not telling you that this is the only brand you could use. She leaves it quite open. However, 99% of the products photographed in this book are her own products. The first chapter, called Makeup Artistry, is literally 2 pages. She tells you about how she started out as a makeup artist and why, so it really has nothing to do with you doing any makeup. The second part is quite useful. It's called Makeup Kits. I feel like it's bit of an exaggeration. You as an average person don't need all of this. However, it can be quite useful if you think about traveling and what you should have in your drawer. She does give some useful advice, but again, this is mainly for people who are planning on working as a makeup artist. One of my favorite parts of this book is when she's talking about makeup brushes. I feel like it's really hard to find any guidance on brushes of exactly what each type of brush should be used for, so I did learn a lot from her about brushes in this section. She actually has 4 pages of pictures of brushes in this book and description of what they should be used for, and I actually ended up purchasing a lash curler, disposable sponges and a powder puff after reading this book. The next chapter in the book is about skincare, and I feel like you cannot emphasize enough how important good skincare and a healthy lifestyle are in order to achieve the desired look. You cannot cover up an unhealthy skin. You first have to look after it, and then makeup is going to be kind of like the colors you apply based on a good foundation. It's very similar to having damaged walls. you have to fix them before you start painting them. She mentions all the different minerals and vitamins that you should take in, and she talks about some very obvious things such as avoiding stress, alcohol and smoking. Then she goes on to talking about skincare tailored to very specific needs, such as being oily in the T-zone, having an aging skin, having a sensitive skin, and so on. She talks about the importance of cleansing before and after using makeup. She talks about the importance of moisturizing the skin and protecting the skin against sun damage. And then in chapter 4, she moves on to face makeup, meaning foundation, concealer, and powdering down the base. She talks about how to find the right shade of concealer for you and how you should choose different undertones based on your skin color and how different the application will be depending on your skin tone. For example, if you have a very light skin, you're more likely to have blue veins on your eyelid, whilst if you have an olive skin tone, you're more likely to have dark under eyes. So you will need to cover up different areas around the eye depending on your skin tone. Bobbi Brown does the concealer and the foundation the other way around. She does the concealer first and conceals any imperfection, and then she applies the foundation on the top of that. So she doesn't use the concealer for lightening certain parts of the face. She uses a lighter shade of foundation to do that. She also talks about bronzers and blushes in this chapter. And one thing I definitely wanted to show you from this book, because I find it to be an amazing trick, but I haven't really seen anyone talking about it, despite having quite a lot of product on the market actually offering you this idea, is using two different blushes. As you can see, she uses a darker, more muted shade, and then she applies a lighter, brighter, more vivid color on the apple of the cheek, and that way the blush has more dimension to it, and the vivid shade also pops a lot more. However, it doesn't make you look like a clown because you don't apply it all over the cheek, and it really beautifully blends into each other with the other blush. And we've definitely seen blush duos like this being on the market, and I never really understood why they're putting two blushes next to each other like this. For example, NARS had this in the past. I'm not sure if they still do. ELF went on to copying it, and now I finally understand how they work. I have tested out this idea with my own blushes, and I think it works beautifully. This is why I find it so amazing to read these older books and go back to the way we used to do makeup before YouTube, because I do feel like since YouTube, we are overdoing a lot of things. And if you look at these books from these world famous makeup artists, they have these amazing tricks, but they're not using that much makeup in reality. In fact, they use very little base makeup, they use very little color, and they focus on the technique they use, and they focus on emphasizing your beauty and what looks good about you. They don't really use a ton of makeup. They are definitely not using as much foundation and concealer as people here on YouTube do, and they're not doing these amazing double cut creases on the eyes either. They are doing very wearable and very beautiful makeup looks, and I'm actually heavily gravitating towards these makeup looks over what we can find on YouTube, but that's just my personal opinion. I think they are much more flattering, and I'm very surprised sometimes how many good tips we had in these old books and we kind of just forgot about them. You look at any YouTube video and you see people applying bronzer and blush all over the face when it literally should be just a hint of it. Another thing I really like about this book is that she has a section with your natural lip color and another section with your natural eye color, and she shows you what colors you could be using with that color in order to make it appear natural with the rest of the tones of the face. For example, if you have dark lips and you would wear pink with them, that would look quite hideous, let's be honest. Also, if you would wear a very light shade with your dark lips, it would look, well, let's just say interesting. So I feel like something like this could be also very useful for someone starting out with makeup and not really knowing yet what kind of a lip color or eyeshadow color would suit them. It's also very useful if, like I said, you are a makeup artist, you are doing makeup on different skin tones, and for example, they ask you to put red lipstick on 3 different skin tones. You are not going to be able to use the same red shade on all 3 of them. It's not going to be flattering. So something like this can really help you to find the red shade that will suit each of them. So in the next chapter, she moves on to the eyes. First, she talks about your eyebrow colors. She basically tells you based on the hair color what eyebrow color would suit you. And then she moves on to showing you step by step how to shape the brow. As I said, she also talks about what eyeshadow shades would suit you based on your eye color. And something I found really interesting here is that she acknowledges that Asian people have a very different eye shape and eyelid, and she's basically giving them separate tips on how to apply eyeshadow to make sure that the eyeshadow will actually show up on them. She also talks about eyeliner application, mascara, and how to put on false eyelashes. And then in chapter 7, she gives you a quick 10-step guide on how to apply your makeup. Like I said before, after preparing the skin, she first applies concealer, then foundation. She powders it down, applies bronzer if necessary, then blush. Interestingly enough, she applies lipstick first and lip liner after. I always thought people did it the other way around, but I'm definitely going to test this out as well. She then moves on to the eyebrows, followed by eyeshadow, eyeliner, and finally mascara. I personally always do my eyebrows first thing as soon as my base makeup is done. I guess makeup is very subjective. I have been lately doing my eye makeup first and then do the base. If I know I'm gonna be wearing a very light eye makeup that day, for example today, then I first do my base and then I straight away go on to doing my eyebrows just because I wanna see my face with the eyebrows on. I cannot really imagine doing anything else before that. I don't really see the point of doing the bronzer and blushes before doing the brows, but again, I guess it's just really subjective. I find it really interesting though that she does the lips before she would do the eyes. I find it a bit risky, but again, she doesn't really do any complicated eye makeup looks, so that might be why. I haven't really seen anyone ever doing the lips before completing the eye makeup look. I always do the whole shebang on the eye and then I move on to the lips, and that's my finishing touch. I feel like it really is just up to you, but it is a different perspective. It's probably working for her because she's a world famous makeup artist. It's interesting. Like I said, this book is mainly for makeup artists. So she talks quite a lot about bridal makeup, makeup for occasions, makeup for teens, makeup for different ethnicities, makeup on older people, makeup for pregnant ladies, and makeup for people having a bad day. And then she moves on to the second part of the book, which is, like I said, called Artistry. And this is really heavily focused on makeup artists and being a makeup artist. And I feel like this is also where she gives the most useful information, especially now in 2021. I feel like everything we talked about before can be found on YouTube. However, in this section, she really does give you a lot of very useful information if you would like to be a makeup artist. She talks about how to get started, how important it is to put yourself out there as often as possible, and basically get any job you can, just to do as much makeup on as many different people as you can, and keep taking pictures, build your portfolio, hand out your little business card to everyone with your name, your email address, your website on it. And she also talks about all the different type of careers you can have as a makeup artist, because it's very different to work on the runway or work on film, work in the media such as newspapers, or do bridal makeups. She also talks about how to put your own portfolio together, what kind of pictures you should have in your portfolio, how important it is to have a business card, a website, how to work with agencies, how to decide how much you should charge for your work. And she also talks about the tools you should have as a makeup artist, because you will need things that you wouldn't normally need if you were doing your own makeup, such as an apron, having all of your brushes, travel size products, things like cotton pads, which are absolutely necessary for sanitary reasons. And she also talks about how many of each of these things you should have. For example, when you're doing your own foundation, it's absolutely fine to have just one. But if you are planning on working on the runway, you will need at least 10-15 different shades, because you need to be able to match everyone's skin tone. When you're using something like a mascara, you will need to buy disposable mascara wands, and you will need to use a new one on every single person. When you're working with something like eyeliner or lipstick, you will need to use brushes for sanitary reason, which is another thing you would never do if you were doing your own makeup. This is again something that you don't really have to think about unless you want to be an actual makeup artist. The next chapter, chapter 11, is again very, very interesting. It's called Advanced Makeup Applications. In this section, she talks about how different lightings and different angles and different background will change the way you apply makeup. So for example, if you're shooting outside in the winter time, you will use more color, you will use heavier makeup, because the winter lighting kind of washes out the face. On the other hand, in the summertime, you can use more vivid colors, you can use more bronzer, and you want the skin to glow more, but the natural lighting will give you more colors, so you don't necessarily need to use heavy makeup. Another interesting thing to consider is that if you know that the photo is gonna be black and white, you would use more contrast between the light and the dark shade, because you really want to emphasize that monochrome effect. And you don't want shades to muddy into each other. For example, if you're using red and green, you won't be able to tell the difference on pictures. So you do want to stick to a bigger contrast between the shades you use. She talks about how it is to work on a fashion show, how it is to work for television, how it is to work with celebrities. Those are all very specific things. When you work for celebrities, everything revolves around them. When you work on a fashion show, you need to be really quick, and you kind of will have an easier job with the models than you would with celebrities, because the models will do exactly as you say. On the other hand, the companies will give you very strict rules on how the makeup is expected to look like. In television, a lot of the times you will have to use very natural looking makeup, but it still has to make the desired effect through the camera. And last but not least, in chapter 12, called Memorable Makeup Moments and Legends, she gives you a quick summary starting with 500,000 years BC into makeup, basically how people first started applying makeup, going through all the different trends and techniques people used, arriving to the present day. And then she moves on to who is who in makeup, talking about basically the most famous people, such as Coco Chanel, Elizabeth Arden, Helena Rubinstein, Estee Lauder, Kevin Aucoin, François Nars, Pat McGrath, Laura Mercier, or Scott Barnes. So Pros and cons about this book. I definitely feel like it gives you a lot more information than Kevin's book did. It is a lot less personal. You don't really find out anything about Bobbi Brown from this book, about her family, about her life. She does give you an idea of how she started with makeup, but it's all in order to help you start out as a makeup artist. This book is perfect for you if you are planning on being a makeup artist and you have no idea how to get started. If you are an average person who wants to start off with makeup and you never seen makeup before, or you have very limited knowledge about makeup, this book is gonna be a lot better for you than Kevin's book. It's actually a really decent point to start with. Just like I mentioned in the previous book review though, it is not necessarily something that you need in 2021 when you have all of these makeup videos available on YouTube for free. If you have seen a lot of YouTube videos already about makeup and you have a quite good knowledge, this book is not necessarily gonna be worth your money. I still find it very good to have though, especially because of the explanation about all the different brushes and because of the part about how to start out as a makeup artist. I think not a lot of people touch on those points here on YouTube. So realistically, if you are looking for a book to teach you the basics about makeup and show you how to do it, then this book is definitely a very good place to start. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I would love to have you here. And until next time, take care of yourself. I will see you very soon.